Welcome back from our break. Moving on, we're going to discuss down payment assistance and mortgage and financial education. This panel is going to discuss and expand on approaches working with homeowners and borrowers using down payment assistance and down payment solutions. In addition, the panel will identify opportunities and ways to engage with millennials and address financial education gaps through homebuyer education. We'll also hear more about Freddie Mac's CreditSmart program. So I'm going to introduce our panel. First is Matt Callahan. He joined the Los Angeles City Housing Department in 1985 and worked there for 12 years, designing, financing, and administrating programs to help low-income households purchase their first home. Matt also worked at Freddie Mac as he's responsible for supporting lenders, government agencies, real estate professionals, nonprofit organizations, and expanding homeownership opportunities for underserved individuals and families and home buyers in distressed neighborhoods. In 2004, he created his own mortgage and real estate business focused on first-time home buyers. He is an expert in layering financing and using special government and private programs to open doors for people who never thought it would be possible to own a home. In addition to his mortgage business, he's worked with as a homeownership counselor and consultant, trainer, and program administrator for local governments and federal agencies. In 2012, he led an effort to revitalize a nonprofit called Los Angeles Housing Partners in Homeownership. Our next speaker is Carolina Valderrama. She's an affordable lending manager and housing outreach manager at the single family mission and community engagement team at Freddie Mac. She manages CreditSmart financial capability program nationwide and is responsible for training and financial education for housing and mortgage industry professionals. She developed the Spanish version of CreditSmart training for new instructors and educates and certifies Hispanic industry professionals on CreditSmart. She manages relationships with nonprofits, housing counseling agencies, and develops financial capability initiatives in partnership with these organizations. She also manages and coordinates industry events to support first-time homebuyers and affordable homeownership for underserved communities. And then our last speaker is Walda Wong. She is a 16 years experiences in the business, and she works at the Latino Economic Development Center. Prior to working there, she has various nonprofit organizations in the DC area. She's originally from Guatemala, and she moved to the US in 2000 with a solid work experience in procurement for one of the leading sugar refineries in the country. She started her career at LEDC as a housing counseling agency focused on foreclosure prevention, pre-purchase, and financial education. After 8 years, she positioned into a new role, and she was promoted to housing counseling manager, overseeing all of the programs. She holds multiple certifications from Neighborhood Works, Unidis US, and topics related to housing counseling, foreclosure prevention, and financial capability. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm looking forward to our conversation. I'm going to start with a couple of questions. Matt and Walda, I'll start with you. What are some of the myths around working with low to moderate income buyers? And Matt, I'll start with you.
Well, I think the biggest myth is, speaking especially to real estate professionals, the biggest myth is that it's not profitable, that it's not a legitimate way to make money. You're not going to make as much money serving the low and moderate income market. And in my experience, I've found the exact opposite. And it is true that from a price point standpoint, commissions are going to be lower, the purchase prices are lower. But what I find is that low and moderate income home buyers are more consistently in the market. So, for example, a few months ago when interest rates started going up really high, a lot of more affluent clients that I was working with, people that are higher income, they immediately pulled back. They said, "Wow, I'm going to wait. I'm going to, search my Bloomberg charts and figure out when interest rates are going to go down again because I want to make sure I get that interest rate that my brother-in-law got last year." Whereas my low and moderate income buyers, they hung in there. They were primarily focused on wanting to buy a home. They wanted to hear what they qualified for, what their monthly payment would be, how much they needed to close the purchase, which programs might be able to help them. And, that really helped my business stay consistent. I had a pipeline of clients I was working with because my low and moderate income clients they want to hear, am I approved? What can I qualify for? What can I afford? And they're really very focused on just being able to purchase their first home. So And I also find that they're stickier clients. They stay with you more. They're more loyal. They want to, if you can show them the path forward, they're going to work with you till closing. So that would be the first myth that I would say is important to dispel in working with low and moderate income buyers.
Walda, what about you in your experience?
Yeah, I would like to mention that one of the myths is that low to moderate income families don't have a good credit score and credit history. They do, but they have other barriers than credit. So I have heard from loan officers that they don't prefer to work with low to moderate income families because they don't have credit established or they don't have a good credit history. But as a housing counselor, I can say that our families, we have a mix. There is families that need support establishing their credit or improving their credit history, but a good percentage, they've been working on that, or they hear about having a good credit and they start working on their own. And when they get to us, they already start the journey and they have a good credit score and good credit history, but probably they are facing another barrier such as down payment, enough money for down payment. That's one of the biggest myths that we see in our day-to-day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, working with first-time home buyers or working with low to moderate income buyers, it's definitely a niche market and can be very rewarding at the same time. One of the biggest hurdles that we see in working with, first-time home buyers or underserved communities is home buyer education. A lot of people, a lot of stats that Freddie Mac has is around barriers to home ownership, and understanding the process and knowing where to start is, one of those barriers. So Carolina, can you, open up a little bit about home buyer education and why that's important for first-time home buyers?
Thank you, Monica. So it is very important that the consumers, first-time home buyers, get the education that they need in order to buy a home. Why? The whole purchase of a new mortgage, it's very complex. The regular consumer doesn't know about mortgage terminology, for example. And they also think, it is like sometimes really impossible to go through the whole process. But by going through home ownership education, it will actually have the consumer feel more comfortable about the buying process, about who are all the players in the housing ecosystem, for them to be able to navigate all of the hurdles and all of the issues that may arise during the home buying process. So yes, it's very highly recommended that first-time home buyers take home ownership education.
Yeah. And Walda, you work with a lot of consumers directly through the housing counseling agency that you work for. Can you share some light on, the benefits of home ownership, home buyer education?
Definitely, yes. Thank you, Monica. And I support everything that Carolina mentioned. And as a housing counselor and working with a housing counseling agency for all these years, I always say when I have the opportunity or recommend when I have the opportunity that individuals that are thinking to become homeowners take the time to learn about the process, because it doesn't matter what is your level of formal education. We don't know how to buy a house. Even if we have a college degree, it's a very complicated process. And especially for our low to moderate income families or immigrant families that can have another barrier, as the language barrier. It's really important that they take the time out from their job, from their other responsibilities, to learn about the process, gather all the information that they need, apply for down payment assistance programs, because in across the country, we know that there are down payment and closing cost assistance programs available. And also, wonderful nonprofit organizations in each part of the country to take a class, which I would say generally are free of a charge to attend the class and to receive individual counseling. Talk to somebody that can guide you to understand the process. If you are not there yet in the level that that person can be mortgage ready, the housing counselor is going to help to get there. So education and individual counseling is the keys to be successful homeowners.
And it's creating home ownership opportunities for them to purchase the home, but then sustain that home as well. And so I know that housing counseling agencies and homebuyer education is not only going to teach consumers how to purchase a home and how to prepare to that for that, but also to sustain that home. Because again, we want to make sure that we're creating homeowners for life, right? Not just putting them in and then them having struggles later on. We know that the millennials right now are driving the first-time home buyer market. They made up 52% of Freddie Mac's business in 2020. So Matt, what are some ways that real estate professionals can position themselves to start working with some of these first-time home buyers?
Thanks, Monica. Well, my experience with the millennial clients that I work with is that they have a lot of information, but not a lot of practical knowledge on how to move forward. And sometimes it's that analysis paralysis. They have so much information, and I kind of compare it to, whenever I have a medical problem that I'm concerned about, I get on the internet and I'm searching all this information, and within an hour, I'm pretty sure I'm going to die. So when you talk to the doctor and find out all you need to do is take an aspirin, you'll be fine. And I think our millennial home buyers are very much in the same way. They have tons and tons of information. They've been researching everything, but they have a hard time prioritizing and knowing what's most important. So I think real estate professionals can provide a really important service here by helping them ferret out all the information that they've gotten and prioritize the things that are going to be most important for them to be able to move forward. So, for example, I found with millennial buyers is they're very, very concerned about, keeping their options open and not getting locked in too early. So they may be very nervous about even signing a purchase offer because they feel like signing a purchase offer is the same as buying the house. And so if you can spend some time and explain that, getting an accepted offer doesn't obligate you to purchase that house, that there's contingency periods built into a purchase contract, that you have a chance to do your inspections, get all the disclosures, confirm all your financing terms, get the appraisal done. Once they hear that, that's a big relief to them, and they're more likely to move forward. So again, helping them prioritize and understand the things that are most important in the buying process, because they've gotten so much information, and getting to those things that are really going to help them purchase for the home, and they're going to be more likely to stick with you. I think the other thing I would add is, millennial buyers are a little bit picky. They're going to be out there talking to a lot of different people. So, you want to make sure you're staying in close contact with them, keeping them updated, because you want to, retain them as a client all the way through the process.
Absolutely. I mean, millennial myself, we have, this sort of technology savviness to us, but we still want a professional to guide us in that decision. There is something said to be an expert in your business and to know, the person that's going to answer all of my questions, right? There is still value in finding that trusted advisor. And so, Walda, if you want to share some of your experience in working with the millennial generation and what you are doing to better prepare them for homeownership.
Yes, thank you, Caroline. Monica. Yes, definitely that has been a change in the population that we've been serving along the time that I've been doing this work. What we've been doing to engage more with the millennials is, and something that also is a result of the work during the times of the pandemic, is that we change a lot of our services in terms of the method of service that we are providing services. We are now providing classes online. That was something that before the pandemic, all of our classes were in person. And that was a barrier to capture the attention of the millennial population. So now all of our orientation classes, the 8-hour classes, and the individual counseling sessions, we have the format and the tools to provide those services online. That has been tremendously helpful to capture more the youngest population in this area. So I would say that that has been the best decision in terms of how we provide services. And also we've been updating the materials, incorporating more applications in our services, including the CreditSmart curriculum that has been updated and has more interactive exercise and activities during the classes. So technology, incorporating more technology into the way that we provide services has been a key to capture that generation.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a little bit of a knowledge gap in understanding the process. Even though millennials are the most educated generation currently right now, adult generation, a lot of them were pushed to go to college to get those degrees and join the workforce and start working. And so, some of those, sometimes I call it street smarts of financial education, were a little bit, put to the side, if you will. And right now, our Freddie Mac data shows that 42% of millennials think that they need 20% down in order to purchase a home. And we as professionals know that that's not the case. A lot of them that are purchasing are putting anywhere between 0 and 5% down. So we know that it's possible for millennials to become homeowners. Walda mentioned our CreditSmart program. Caroline, I'd love to be able to allow you to give a little bit of highlight of what CreditSmart is, how people can access it, and how it's really driving that sort of educational gap that we are seeing in our millennials right now.
Thank you, Monica, for that opportunity. CreditSmart is Freddie Mac's financial capability and homeownership education resource. So we call it a suite of products because CreditSmart has different type of products depending on the need of the population that wants to serve and get education for. For example, we have the financial capability course. It's called CreditSmart Essentials. It is totally online and it's very robust, very user-friendly. We have applied, all of the different technology gadgets, right, in the curriculum in order to make it more accessible and more flexible for all of the consumers that are taking it. We also have the CreditSmart Homebuyer U, and that is our home ownership education resource that is also online, and it is available in English and Spanish as well. And that course provides a certificate. When the consumer goes through the program, it generates a certificate that the consumer can actually send to the lender if they are looking for an affordable mortgage product, for example, right? And so those are our two main products, but we also have our military financial readiness brochure that talks particularly to the service member and the veterans community. So it's also another great product to become more informed about the whole financial capability and home buying process. So all of those courses are online and they are accessible to our consumers, our first-time home buyers, all of our population. And I invite you to check it out whenever you get a chance.
It's free. It's free.
It's free. Yes. All of our CreditSmart resources are completely free. And
Exactly.
we also have Yes, we also have a new trainer called CreditSmart Coach, and that is specifically for practitioners in the housing and mortgage industry. And so you can also look it up online as well, and then try to sign up for our next cohorts that we are going to offer.
Definitely. I know we'll be sharing QR codes on the screen throughout this event. Be sure to take your phone out and subscribe to our centers so that you will get the latest, CreditSmart Coach dates that are coming out. CreditSmart Coach is a great tool for you to utilize in your community. You'll be able to provide financial education to your first-time home buyers directly as well. So our next question, Amy, in 2020, our real estate professional outreach team, we did a survey and we learned that only 1 in 8 real estate professionals were actually utilizing a housing counseling agency. And we've already heard from every one of our panelists what a great, educational opportunities they provide, what free resources and tools that they can help your home buyers do. So if you are encountering a buyer who might need a little extra hand-holding, who might need to take some steps before they're ready to purchase, a housing counseling agency is a great partner to add into your housing ecosystem repertoire of partners to work with. And so, Walter, can you highlight some additional benefits that professionals can gain from utilizing and developing a partner with a housing counseling agency?
Yes, Monica, thank you for that question. I think it's really important that the professionals, the real estate agents, loan officers, inspectors, all the professionals involved in the home buying process see us as friends because they are the friends. We can help, as you mentioned before, we can help their clients to get mortgage ready. And we don't have any interest in to whom they are working with, to change them from one professional to another professional. We just want them to be informed and to be able to take informed decisions to be successful homeowners down the road. So we are the friends because they can trust on us that we won't be giving false information to their clients or putting them in a situation that they can be in troubles later on. Also, we can help the professionals in a specific area to understand the down payment assistance programs that are available if they don't know about them, because there is a lot of programs available, and we know that sometimes they don't have that information as well as our clients. So we can help them understand the process, put them in contact with the underwriters of the programs, and be the support they need to have a good experience with the down payment assistance programs available in a specific jurisdiction or area that they are working with clients to become first-time home buyers. So we can provide also the education that the clients need if they are going to be using any of these special programs. We know, for example, for loan officers, if they are going to be using a special program for first-time home buyers, probably a certificate from one of the from a housing counseling agency is going to be required to go to the closing. So we can provide that. And once we do what we had to do with the client, provide counseling, make sure that they attended the classes and that they are ready. So then we issue that certificate and the process can go smooth.
Another, if I may, Monica and Walda, if I may add to what Walda mentioned, also housing counselors can help figuring out how much house a first-time home buyer or a consumer can afford. And that is very important, to know that, and also help them calculate their DTI, right? We have to start from there in order to, for them to start shopping for a mortgage, for example, which is another area where housing counselors can help. They can help the consumers apply for different type of mortgages and get them hopefully pre-approved or pre-qualified before they start shopping for that dream home, right? They can also help them with credit, how to check their credit, how often, how to correct some errors that you can find on a credit report, right? How to improve their credit. They also help them with creating budgets, extending plans, savings plans, and all of that good stuff, right? In order to prep them for home ownership.
And Walda, your nonprofit and your housing counseling agency service the DC market. And I know, Carolina, your team, the housing outreach team at Freddie Mac, works with housing counseling agencies all across the country. So if you are tuning in from a market that Walda doesn't probably cover, I'm sure we can get you in contact with the housing counseling agency in your market. Our team works with a lot of companies all across the U.S. So please drop in the chat if you would like access to a housing counseling agency in your market. Just let us know where you're coming in from. And we'll be able to hopefully get you in contact with someone who'll be able to offer you these sort of resources in your community. Matt, is there any additional points that you would like to add and the benefits that housing counseling agencies offer to both professionals and consumers?
Yeah, thanks, Monica. 2 points. One is, aside from the educational content, which is really important in the buying process, I find that clients who complete a homebuyer education workshop are more motivated to purchase. They're ready to go. So whatever doubts or insecurities they may have had, they are motivated, ready to take the next step. And that can certainly be because of the information they got, but also, if it's an in-person course and they're seeing other people who are purchasing a home, maybe there's a testimonial from someone who completed a home purchase. That's really, really motivating. And meeting other mortgage and real estate professionals in these workshops, that now they have contacts and resources that they can start moving forward with. So the motivation factor is really, really important. The other thing I would say for housing professionals, real estate professionals, is if you look for a local housing counseling agency in your community, and not just as a referral partner, but someone that you're actually partnering with in a really meaningful way. Get to know their counselors, offer your services, be a volunteer, help with their fundraising. That's going to increase your knowledge about the services they provide, and also demonstrate to your clients that you're really committed to their long-term success.
What a great point to make, right? We know we're going into 2023. The market is going to be very different than the market we've experienced in the last couple of years. How can you position yourself to make sure that you are being successful and growing your network, working with professionals in a different way that's going to set you apart from your competition? I think that partnering with a housing counseling agency and developing that relationship is really something that's going to set you apart from other agents in your market. Let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit now about down payment assistance, right? We know that saving for a down payment is one of the largest barriers to home ownership. People, we see home prices continuing to rise. That is, we offer here at Freddie Mac low down payment products. But there's a lot of free money out there with down payment assistance programs that people can utilize and tap into. And they do sometimes, get a bad rap about, people thinking they're using some sort of a discount, right? So Matt, where can professionals go to learn about down payment assistance program funds? And do those funds ever run out?
Yeah, so first thing I would say is that really at this point, there are programs and resources across the country. So no matter where you're working, it's very likely you're going to be able to find some sort of home buyer assistance program to assist your clients. A good place to start, I think, you really got to do your research. There's no really quick answers, a lot of good places to start, but a great place to start would be the HUD.gov website. U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has an awesome website with tons and tons of resources and information about programs and local grantees that are receiving homeownership assistance funds, the contact names of those individuals. So do your research. Websites like HUD.gov are super helpful. Also, every state has a housing finance agency. Virtually each of these state housing agencies are offering low-cost first mortgages, down payment, and closing cost assistance. And most of the state agency programs are self-funding. So they're not going to run out of funds, or they typically don't. They're continuously available in the market. And then local government agencies, cities, counties, housing authorities also offer their own down payment assistance programs. So again, it's research, looking, going to the websites, making phone calls, finding out how these programs work, what the eligibility criteria are. One great tip is to find, especially if you're a real estate professional, find out who are the lenders participating in these programs, who are making the loans, which housing counseling agencies are supporting these programs. Reach out to them, find out, how the programs are working, what are the, the little extra, tips that you need to know to make the deals work well. And then, really engaging in that and finding out how these programs work. There's a lot of great resources there. The other thing is there's a great website. I think, Freddie Mac is supportive of downpaymentresource.com. It's a private entity that's done an amazing job of cataloging and inventorying first-time homebuyer system programs around the country. So you can literally plug in an address and find out a property address and find out all of the first-time homebuyer programs that are available there. So downpaymentresource.com is a great place to get started in finding information.
Absolutely. There's a lot of free money out there and a lot of tools that are coming out. And Matt mentioned a lot of institutions as well. Here at Freddie Mac, we want to be your partner as well. We have a lot of resources and work with a lot of the same agencies that Matt mentioned. So please, you look to us to develop, if you need additional resources and skills there. Walda, what about you? I mean, I know that you are probably putting a lot of down payment, matching a lot of buyers with down payment assistance programs that are available there. And it probably is very rewarding when you're able to offer some assistance to some of these buyers. Can you share any insights that you have?
Yes, Monica. And in addition of the agencies or institutions that Matt mentioned, I wanted to say that your local nonprofit organizations, housing counseling agencies also can be that resource to learn about those down payment assistance programs and closing cost programs in your area. Also the website of the Department of Housing and Community Development in your area is another website that can have that information for you to understand what are the resources available in that jurisdiction. And also in that place, you can find a list of nonprofit organizations that are participating with that program and that are approved by that government, city or county to provide the education and the individual counseling, because that is a very important tool for low to moderate income buyers to have access to those sometimes free money or loans that are silent loans that are gonna stay there and just waiting for when that home buyer is ready to move to the next step and sell the property or So it's I would say mainly are silent loans that can be very helpful to support low to moderate income families or individuals to become homeowners.
Absolutely. Well, we're winding down now our panel. I want to give all of our speakers an opportunity to provide their final thoughts as we wrap up this session. And Caroline, I'll start with you, but I do want to ask, what are some of the best practices that and resources that real estate professionals can utilize when they want to work with low to moderate income buyers? And then your final closing thoughts as we wrap up this session too.
Get educated. You gotta find that course that it's more important to you, or that you can hear from another referral, because there are so many. There is a myriad of homeownership education and financial capability education, so you can get the information and the education that you need in order to spread it out to your clients and your consumers. And there are so many platforms, like I said, information. We have CreditSmart. I already talked about that. And get the education. And I always say, knowledge is power. So get
Took the words right out of my mouth.
informed.
Absolutely. Yes.
Get
Education.
informed,
Education.
and yes, and you're gonna be very successful in helping first time home buyers.
Walter, what are your resources and last closing and final thoughts? And then Matt, I'll leave the last word for you.
Yes, Monica, I would say that get familiar with the resources that are available in your area. And those resources include housing counseling agencies. Get familiar with the down payment assistance programs and the housing counseling agencies. Participate with your housing counseling agencies in the area, in the events, presenting. There is a lot of ways to get involved with the work that we do and be our friends and have the network to leverage all the resources that low to moderate income families can take advantage of.
And Matt?
Thanks, Monica. I would say that the number one first important thing is to get passionate about home ownership. The work we do as housing professionals, real estate professionals is critically important to our clients. It changes lives. Home ownership is a wealth building powerhouse. It's the most effective way to, stabilize neighborhoods, improve the economy. Just so many positive benefits should come from home ownership and do come from ownership. So we, be excited about it, be passionate about it. The other thing, that's two quick suggestions I would have would be collaborate with other, real estate and housing finance professionals, housing counselors in your community, whether formally or informally. I really believe that, rising tides lift all boats, and, we don't have to hold on to our own little prerogatives and information, but work collaboratively. It's going to help you in your business and your career, particularly when you're focused on serving this really important segment. So those would be the two things I would say.
Absolutely. What a great note to end on, right? We are, again, thriving in a dynamic market is really what the theme of this event is. And, making sure that you're casting that wide net to grow your network. That way it's hopefully going to lead to then growing your business as we move into kind of the uncertain market that we could be looking at in 2023, right? Making sure that you're keeping open communication and a collaborative mindset. So thank you, Matt, Walda, and Carolina for joining us today. I hope that this information was valuable. Again, connect with our speakers here on LinkedIn. We want to make sure that you are connected with them and that information they're sharing into the next year is going to be able to be beneficial and accessible to you. We are going to take another 5-minute break now, but we encourage you guys to stay connected. Look at the chat, scan that QR code when it pops up so you can stay up to date with the latest information, but we'll be back with our next session soon.